In an era where the artificial intelligence debates blur the line between mind and machine, the voice of an ancient sage still echoes with a startling clarity. I'm talking about Rishi Kapil, the father of Sankhya philosophy, who once declared that existence is woven from two eternal threads. One is Purush, that means pure consciousness, and another is Prakriti, that means nature. 25 centuries later, his vision feels uncannily modern. So let's find out more about this philosophy.
Hello friends, the big question that we want to address today is that is your mind working for you or against you? This is a very age old question many people have tried to answer, but today we are going to take a deep dive into Bhagavad Gita. And friends, as you know, Bhagavad Gita is a very ancient document. It's a very ancient manuscript. However, ancient or not, it offers a timeless wisdom for the modern CEOs and entrepreneurs. And in fact, this particular question is beautifully answered in one of the verse which every modern CEO and entrepreneur must hear and see. So let us take the deep dive and try to answer this very profound question, which is about your mind. Let's go.
In the world of business, we are trained to analyze everything. We analyze market trends, competitor strategies, cash flow, and consumer behavior. We spend millions on business intelligence. But there is one piece of intelligence that most leaders completely ignore. And that is one thing that dictates every decision you make, every reaction you have under pressure, and ultimately legacy you leave behind. I'm talking about your mind, which is your mind as well as mine. Think about it. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your mind is clouded by anxiety, ego, or fatigue, that strategy is worthless. Over 7,000 years ago, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, a warrior prince named Arjun faced the ultimate leadership crisis. He was paralyzed by doubts. It was then that Bhagwan Krishna delivered a line that remains the most important psychological insight for any executive today. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 6. It's the difference between a CEO who thrives and one who burns out. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. For him who's conquered the mind is the best of the friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. And this is a quote translated into English. This isn't just a spiritual talk. This is the high level operational reality. When your mind is conquered, it's like having a rogue employee in your C-suite. It creates imaginary problems, fixated on past failures, and reacts with anger when a deadline is missed. It is the voice that tells you to send that angry email at 2 a.m. It's an enemy because it works against your goals. When conquered, the mind becomes your most loyal chief of staff. It stays calm when the market crashes. It sees opportunities when others sees obstacles. It is disciplined, focused, and most importantly, it listens to you. Why is this so hard for leaders? As a CEO, your mind is constantly on. You are bombarded with Prakriti, which is the external material world, data, noise, opinions, and crisis. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that the mind, by its very nature, is flickering and turbulent. If you don't actively conquer it, it defaults to a state of reactive survival. The three traits of enemy mind is in business today can be summarized like this. First is impulsivity, making decision based on temporary emotions rather than long-term data. Next is ego attachment, caring more about being right than getting the right result. Third, mental fatigue, the inability to switch off leading to decision fatigue. the silent killer of the companies. So when your mind is your enemy, you aren't leading your company, you are being led by your impulses. So how do we conquer it? Bhagwan Krishna doesn't suggest we suppress the mind or kill it. He says to win it over. So in Gita, the mind is often compared to the reins of the chariot. If the driver, which can be equated to your intellect, let go of the rein, the horses, which are your senses, so your senses run wild. So in the end, I will like to offer 3 strategic steps for the modern leaders using which they can actually implement this in their professional life. Step 1, observation. Basically the witness mind. Before you can control your mind, you must observe it. In your next board meeting, notice when your enemy mind start to get defensive. Don't act on it, just label it. That is my ego feeling threatened. This creates a gap between the impulse and the action. Step 2, consistent practice. Krishna tells Arjun that the mind is conquered through abhyas, which is constant practice. For a CEO, this means mental discipline, whether it is meditation, deep work blocks, or structured reflections. You must train your mind like a muscle. Step 3, detachment. This is the most misunderstood word in the business. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are detached from the result. You're focused 100% on the process and the action. When you aren't terrified of the outcome, your enemy mind loses its power over you. Imagine 2 CEOs facing a 20% drop in their revenue. CEO A has unconquered mind. They blame the team, stop sleeping, micromanage everyone, and project fear. The enemy mind is in charge and the company spirals out of control. Now let's go to CEO B. CEO B has conquered mind. They acknowledge the loss, remain calm, gather the team and ask, what is the most important logical next step now? They sleep 7 hours because they know tired mind is a weak mind. Their mind is their best friend, providing them with the resilience needed to pivot when the need arises. So which one of these minds or the CEO you are? Do let me know. Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 6 is a call to arms. Not a war against others, but a war against your own lower instincts. As a leader, your greatest asset isn't your bank balance or your intellectual property. It is the quality of your consciousness. Your challenge for the week, therefore, is next time when you feel stressed or angry, stop. Ask yourself, in this moment, is my mind being my friend or my enemy? If you want to lead a great company, you must first lead yourself. If you found this integration of ancient wisdom and modern leadership valuable, hit that like button, subscribe for more insights from Gita for the modern world. Conquer your mind and you will conquer the world. So friends, we have come to the end. Before I end this section, few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Friends, is the world on the brink of economic meltdown? In this video, we break down the explosive news as President Trump announces a staggering 50% tariff on Chinese imports. This massive escalation comes on the heel of the collapsed Islamabad Peace Summit, sending shockwaves through global market and intensifying the fear of all-out trade war once again. We dive deep into the geopolitical fallout, the failed negotiations in Pakistan, and what these new trade barriers mean for our wallet, the tech industry, and the future of international relations. Let's go. The diplomatic table has been flipped. What started as a high-stake attempt at the global stabilization in Islamabad has ended in a spectacular public breakdown, and the response from White House, it's an economic earthquake. That President Trump has just officially announced a 50% tariff on nearly all Chinese imports. We aren't talking about a negotiating tactics or a minor adjustment anymore. This is the nuclear option of a trade policy. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to peel back the curtain on why the Islamabad Peace Summit failed so catastrophically, how these tariffs will ripple through your bank accounts, and why analysts are calling this the beginning of the most dangerous economic era since the Great Depression. So friends, buckle up. This trade war didn't just restart, it just went nuclear. It just went ballistic. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's continue our analysis. To understand the 50% hammer, we have to look at the wreckage of Islamabad Peace Summit. For weeks, the world watched Pakistan with bated breath. This was supposed to be a grand bargain, a moment where the US and Chinese finally found a middle ground on security, intellectual property, and regional influence. But the reports came out of the closed door session described a scene of total deadlock. Well, the sticking point is it wasn't just trade, it was the refusal to compromise on tech sovereignty and failed resolution of the maritime disputes as well. When the Chinese delegation walked out on the final day without a joint, when I say Chinese, it's basically the Iranian as well, because world knows that the Iran is completely backed by Chinese and Russian. Alright, so when they walked out on the final day without a joint statement, the peace summit became a press disaster. The Trump administrator and their philosophy has been, strength through leverage. Without a deal, the White House felt they had no choice but to maximize the pressure. The 50% tariff isn't just a tax, it's a direct retaliation of the perceived lack of cooperation in Islamabad. In economic terms, what we call is a decoupling accelerator. At 50%, it becomes mathematically impossible for many American companies to maintain their current supply chain in China. And if you're an American retailer, a 50% tax at the border wipe out an entire profit margin, and you're left only with two choices: pass the cost to the consumer, which is guys like you and me, or move your manufacturing elsewhere. Well, this is time consuming, it will take years. From semiconductors to the shoes on your feet, every single line item is about to get a Trump surcharge. This is a bold gamble that US economy is strong enough to absorb the shock, while the Chinese manufacturing sector buckles under the weight of lost business. The reaction from Wall Street has been instantaneous. We saw the Dow and the Nasdaq took triple-digit dives within minutes of the announcement. But the real chaos is happening in the shipping lanes. The logistics experts are warning of supply chain gridlock. Importers are scrambling to the front door shipment before the tariffs officially takes effect, leading to a massive bottleneck at the various coast, especially American coast. And we already know that the Strait of Hormuz is also blocked. And then there is a retaliation factor. China has already signaled that they won't take this lying down. In fact, yesterday their foreign ministry said that please stop interfering in our affairs. So we are looking at a potential export ban on rare earth mineral, the stuff needed to make electrical car batteries and smartphones. And if the US tax Chinese goods, then China cut off the raw material to make those goods elsewhere. We aren't just looking at the higher prices, we are looking at the scarcity. So is there anyone winning here? So in the short term, domestic manufacturers in the US might see a surge in demand as the foreign competition becomes too expensive. Countries like Vietnam, Mexico, and India are also positioning themselves to catch the overflow as companies flee the Chinese market. But for the average consumer, the winner column is looking pretty thin. Economists warn that this could be a reignite of the inflation, just as we thought we had it under control. If $1,000 iPhone suddenly costs $1,400 because of the trade levy, the consumer spending, the engine of the American economy, could stall. So let's discuss pros and cons. What are the pros? Reshoring of the jobs, increased leverage in future deals, reduced dependency on rival. And what are the cons? Higher inflation, stock market volatility, and strained relation with allies who are caught up in different crossfires across the world. So where do we go from here? The 50% tariff is more than just a policy. It's a line in the sand. It signals that the era of globalism at any cost is officially over. We are moving into a bipolar world where you are either in the Western trade bloc or you are not, or you're out basically. The big question remains, will China blink, or will this trade war escalate into a full-blown economic Cold War that lasts for generations? One thing is certain, the failure in Islamabad wasn't the end of the story. It was the prologue to a much more intense chapter in global history. So friends, I want to hear from you. Do you think 50% tariff is the right move to protect the American interest? Or is it the risk of a global recession too high? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and after receiving your comments, I will basically start making more analysis in future on the same subject. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. We are going to be tracking this market reaction throughout the week and keep bringing the analysis to you. Thanks for watching. I am CK and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I leave this section, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, did you know that NASA is officially moving beyond the chemical rockets? In this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary nuclear thermal propulsion (NTP) technology that is set to slash travel time to red planet. Imagine a future where Mars isn't a grueling 7 months journey but a weekend trip in comparison to everything we have known about the space exploration. Let us explore this further. So for 60 years, we have been stuck. Every time we look at Mars, we are staring at a 7 to 9 months commute between Earth and Mars. That isn't just a long time; it is dangerous time. Every day, every day in deep space is another day of the cosmic radiation, muscle atrophy, and the psychological toll of the isolation. But what if we could break that speed limit of space travel? What if we could treat the journey to the red planet not in months, not in years, but in few days, right? Like a weekend trip in comparison to the current tech. NASA has just officially crossed the Rubicon with the announcement of SR1 Freedom and a roadmap of 2028. The era of chemical rocket is ending. Today we are looking at the nuclear engine that are finally turning science fiction into a interplanetary reality. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, moving on. To understand the future, we have to look at why we cannot reach at this point in time, and currently why it is slow. Our best rockets today are chemical combustion. We all know that liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. They are very powerful, but they are incredibly inefficient. Think of it like this. A chemical rocket is like a high performance dragster. It's a massive oomph at the start, but it burns through its fuel in minutes. Once you are in orbit, you are basically a glider. By switching to nuclear, we aren't just adding more fuel, we are doubling the energy we get out of every gram of the propellant. So how does a nuclear engine actually works? Unlike the nuclear power in a plant on Earth basically that makes electricity, a nuclear thermal rocket NTR is much more direct, and it has several components starting with core. We have a compact fission reactor using high assay low enriched uranium, right? And it then create energy which then send it to the nozzle, etc. And therefore we have to talk about the propellant. We pump the liquid hydrogen through the white hot core reactor, and then it basically comes out of the other side at very high speed. So now we have to talk about expansion. In less than a second, the hydrogen goes from minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit to 5000 degrees Fahrenheit, which then creates a huge thrust. So now let's talk about this thrust. The superheated gas screams out of the nozzle at a speed no chemical fire could ever reach. This is the holy grail of the propulsion. It gives us the high thrust of a rocket with a very long-term efficiency of an electric drive. We are currently in the pivotal year. As of April 2026, the design is right now on the drawing table. However, there is a roadmap, and that is June 2026. The final hardware development begins, and the mission will be SR1. It's a design as a nuclear electric hybrid. It uses the reactor to generate massive amount of electricity, powering high efficiency thruster to basically increase the speed. And it can run for months. It can go for very long time. And what is the goal? The goal is a direct Mars mission capability by 2028. This isn't just a lab experiment anymore. We are building the flight hardware right now. So when we say weekend trip, we are talking about relative transit time. by cutting the journey to Mars from 250 days down to 100 or even 60 days, we solve the two biggest threats to human life. Number one is radiation. Less time spent in the void, which is open space, lower the dose of the solar particles or any cosmic radiation. Number two is the abort capability. Nuclear engines allow us to turn around or change course. Well, in a chemical rocket, once you are on your path, you are committed. Nuclear gives the pilot a steering wheel. Our multi-planetary future, which is to the stars, will have, will always remain a dream if we do not have faster mode of transport. We just don't have the engine to reach them. Why, right? So if we want to go to other worlds, other stars, we need faster mode of transport. So with the breakthrough that we are going to see in 2026, the gap between Earth and Mars is finally closing. We are no longer limited by how much fire we can make. We are now limited only by our ambition to explore. So friends, we have come to the end of our discussion today. My name is CK and you are watching Akulmach. And if you want to stay on the cutting edge of the Artemis era and the nuclear revolution, hit that subscribe button and the future is arriving faster than you think. So before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, welcome to Executive Learning Session. In today's high pressure corporate world, CEOs are often obsessed with the quarterly reports. But what if focusing less on the result actually would lead to better performance? That's a very big and profound question. Therefore, today in this video, we break down the profound leadership wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And we will also explore how it serves as a blueprint for the modern mindful executives. We explore the concept of Karma Yogi, a leader who performs their duty with intense focus and excellence without becoming slave to the result. So therefore, friends, stick around with this thought and let's explore this further. Picture this. It's 11 p.m. on a Sunday and you're starting working at a spreadsheet. You have got a quarterly board meeting in 48 hours. The numbers aren't where they need to be and your heart is racing. Your sleep is now non-existent and your identity, your very worth as a leader is tied entirely to the bottom right cell of the screen, right? This happens to everybody, isn't it? Well, we have been taught that the greatest leader you must be result driven. We must obsess over KPIs, exit strategies, and stock prices. But here is a paradox. The more tightly you grip the result, the more likely you are, likely to choke the process that creates it. Today, I want to share a piece of wisdom that is 7,000 years old, yet feels like it was written for this morning market volatility. It's from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, first verse of chapter 6. It is a verse that redefines what it means to be a yogi and by extension what it means to be a leader. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Let's proceed further. So now let's look at the verse. Quote starts, a true yogi or a true renunciant is the one who performs his duty renouncing attachment to result, and not one who abandons work or the sacrificial fire. Quote close. Now, when we hear the word yogi or renunciant, we think of someone sitting on a mountain far away from emails and supply chain issues. But Bhagwan Krishna says something radical here. He says the true yogi is not the one who quits. It's the one who stopped doing the work. It's also not that. In business context, Krishna is saying you don't have to quit your job to find peace. You don't have to stop being ambitious. The sacrificial fire for CEO is the office, the factory, and the boardroom. The distinction isn't whether you work, it's how you relate to outcome of what works, etc. So what is the result paradox? So when we attach to the result, we operate from a place of fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of looking bad. When the brain is in the fear mode, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for high level strategy and innovation, shuts down. Attachment creates tunnel vision. You become so focused on the win that you miss the ethical red flags or the innovative pivot that could have saved your company. Attachment creates fragility. If your happiness depends on the green KPI, a red KPI will shatter your confidence completely. So Gita suggests a better way. Perform your karma, the duty at hand. Imagine the professional athlete. If a golfer is thinking about a trophy while they are, mid-swing, they will miss the shot. To win the trophy, they must forget the trophy exists and focus entirely on the mechanics of the swing. That is leading without attachment. The verse mentioned not abandoning the sacrificial fire. In ancient times, this was the literal fire of ritual. Today, for a leader, it is the energy of the action. Leading without attachment does not mean leading without excellence. In fact, it requires more excellence. When you aren't worried about how the result will make you look, you are free to be. There are several things you are free to be. First is bold, because you aren't afraid of the fallout. Second is the present, because you aren't living in the future quarter. And third is the objective, because you see the data for what it is, not what you want it to be. A true CEO, which is yogi, performs their duty because it is the right thing to do, not because it means something to, earn your bonus, etc. They treat their company as a sacrifice, a contribution to the world. So how do we actually do this? How do we walk into the board meeting tomorrow and lead without the attachment? There are few ideas which I want to share with you. First is shift from what to how. Instead of asking, will they reach the target? Ask, are we executing this with the highest level of integrity and skill? If the process is perfect, the result is inevitable, and it's the inevitable byproduct. Second, the 5-minute detether. Before a high stake pitch, take 5 minutes to remind yourself, I have a right to work, but not to the fruits. Tell yourself that your value as a human being is independent of this deal. Watch how much more charismatic and calm you would become before you get into the meeting. Now, the third idea is reward effort, not just outcome. So as a leader, stop only celebrating the wins. start celebrating the karma as well. The disciplined, high quality effort, even when it doesn't lead to a win, this builds a culture of psychological safety. So, Bhagavad Gita isn't asking you to be less ambitious. In fact, it is asking you to be freer. So, when you stop being a slave to the result, you become master of your actions. You will become unshakable executive. You will still show up and you still, the light of fire, and you still do the work, but you do it with a smile, knowing that while you cannot control the wind, you can always control how you set your sail. So, friends, what do you think? Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining live. Let's go back to the fire and do the work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send it across. Before I wind up this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, let me ask you, is the Big Bang singularity a myth? For decades, Einstein's general relativity and the quantum mechanics have been at war. While Einstein explained the cosmos and the quantum mechanics explained the subatomic, they break down at the very beginning of the time. Enter quadratic gravity, the potential missing piece that could finally unify the physics. In this video, we dive deep into the recent breakthrough in quadratic gravity. Unlike standard general relativity, which leads to impossible singularity, quadratic gravity introduces higher order terms. This mathematical addition might prevent universe from hitting a zero, suggest a smooth, finite origin of our cosmos. Let us explore this further. For over 100 years, we have lived in Einstein's universe. His theory of general relativity is a masterpiece. It explains how gravity shapes galaxies, bend light, and keep time ticking. But if you rewind the cosmic clock back to 13.8 billion years, Einstein math does not do anything. In fact, it does something terrifying. It breaks down. At the very moment of the Big Bang, the general relativity points to a singularity, a point of infinite density and zero volume. In physics, infinite usually means we have missed something. It's a keep out sign posted by the universe. For decades, we have been looking for a bridge between the smooth curves of Einstein's gravity and the jittery, pixelated world of quantum mechanics. We have tried string theory, loop quantum gravity, and dozens of others, but a new old contender is making a wave, right? That is known as quadratic gravity. Today we are going beyond the Big Bang to see if this mathematical breakthrough is the missing piece of the cosmic puzzle. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's move ahead. To understand the solution, we have to understand the failure. Einstein's gravity is based on Einstein-Hilbert action. In simple terms, it says that the matter tells space how to curve and space tells matter how to move. This works perfectly for planets and stars. But when compress the entire mass of the universe into a smaller space than an atom, gravity becomes infinitely stronger. In the standard model, this leads to mathematical blow-up. This is where the quantum mechanics usually steps in. But gravity is a non-renormalizable factor here, or a component. When physicists try to apply quantum rules to gravity, they get nonsensical result, which are infinite probabilities that makes it impossible to calculate anything. Gravity and quantum mechanics are like two languages that refuse to be translated together. So how does the quadratic gravity fix this? It does something deceptively simple. In Einstein's original equation, the math only cares about the linear curvature of the space. Quadratic gravity says, what if we add the square of that curvature to the equation? In the world of math, these are called the higher derivative terms. At the scale of our solar system, these terms are so tiny they are almost invisible. Einstein's original math still rules the day. But as you get closer to Big Bang, where curvature becomes extreme, these quadratic turns on and they act like a cosmic buffer. Instead of letting the universe collapse into a single infinite point, these terms create a repulsive effect or smoothing mechanism. Think of it like a car suspension. On a flat road, you don't feel the spring. But when you hit a massive pothole, the Big Bang, the spring compresses and prevents the car from bottoming out. Quadratic gravity prevents the universe from bottoming out into a singularity. The most exciting part is this theory is renormalizable. In the year 1970, physicist Stella Still provided or proved that by adding these quadratic terms, the infinities in quantum gravity actually cancels out each other. For the first time, we had a version of the gravity that could play by quantum rules. So what does this mean for the Big Bang? If the quadratic gravity is correct, there was no beginning in the way we think of it. There was no point of zero volume. Instead, the universe might have reached a maximum density and then transitioned smoothly or even bounced from a previous state. It suggests a smooth origin, a universe that is finite, calculable, and most importantly, logical. It removes the magic of singularity and replaces it with elegance of higher order geometry. So, is the quadratic gravity the missing piece? It's not without its own problem. Some physicists worry about the ghost, mathematical states that have negative probability, which could then threaten the stability of the theory. But the recent work in phacons and a new mathematical framework are starting to bust these ghosts. We are currently in the golden age of cosmology with new telescopes and the gravitational wave detectors. We are looking closer to the echoes of the Big Bang than ever before. If we find specific pattern in the cosmic microwave background radiation, it might just prove that quadratic gravity was at work in those first few billionth of a second. If Einstein gave us the map of the stars, quadratic gravity might finally give us the map of the beginning. So, what do you think, friends? Did the universe start from nothing, or is it a continuous cycle of geometry? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the deep fabric of reality. My name is CK. Thanks for watching. Before I go, I'd like to share a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskar. Do you know that the Gurugram real estate prices have skyrocketed by 18%? Therefore, in this video, we break down exactly why property demand in Gurugram is hitting new high in 2026 and what this means for home buyers and the real estate investors. Let's go and explore this further. If you have been looking at the property in Gurugram lately, you have probably noticed that same thing I have in the market is basically on fire. So what was cheaper earlier is now becoming expensive. We are looking at an 18% jump in the prices, and that isn't just a random number. It's a signal of a massive shift in the Millennium City. But is this a bubble about to burst, or is there some actual solid value behind these numbers? Today we are breaking down exactly what is happening in Gurugram real estate market in 2026, and more importantly, whether you should be buying, selling, or staying on the sidelines when the property is soaring so much. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, first, let's get the big question out of the way. Why 18%? A lot of people see this and think probably, perhaps, speculative bubble. But when you look at the data, it's actually a structural repricing. We are seeing a perfect storm of three things: infrastructure, corporate expansion, and flight to quality. Not all of the Gurugram is growing at the same rate. We are seeing two-speed market. This is the part everyone ask me about. Is it too late to enter? So when we talk about two-speed market, so there are places in Gurugram which are moving slowly, but there are hot cakes, very very prime locations which are growing at 18%, especially in 2026. So question is it too late to enter? No, market is absolutely risk free. We had a massive price run up in the short 30 months window, and you need to be aware of the risk also, like potential interest rate fluctuations and the fact that we have pulled forward several years of expected appreciation into the current window. So in the end, I would like to tell you that look for a 7-year plus holding period if you are buying right now. This isn't get rich quick game anyway. It is a long-term wealth building strategy in a maturing global city. And Gurugram is a very happening place. Also, there are a lot of business opportunities for people who live in Gurugram. So Gurugram isn't just a city. It's a structural growth story. Whether you're looking at the Dwarka Expressway or the established luxury of Golf Course Road, the key is doing your homework. Don't buy the hype, but buy the fundamentals. So, friends, the prices are going up, and my advice is to basically look for a property based on your budget and location preferences. But definitely, this is the right time to invest in Gurugram real estate market. If you found this breakdown useful, hit that like button, subscribe our channel, uh, and look at the property price in Gurugram very seriously. Do let me know what sector you have in mind, and I can probably guide you further on that. My name is CK, and I will see you again in the next one.
In every cafe, the ritual of espresso feels like alchemy. Steam hisses, aroma bloom, and the tiny cup promises intensity beyond its size. Yet, behind this daily magic lies a hidden order, a choreography dictated not by chance but by physics. Water under pressure doesn't simply sip through the coffee. It navigates labyrinth of particles, carving channels and balancing resistance, and of course unlocking flavors in a precise sequence. The perfect shot, that exclusive harmony of sweetness, acidity and bitterness, is less an accident of artistry than a triumph of fluid dynamics. To understand the espresso is to glimpse the invisible law that governs the flow, pressure, extraction, and where the science and the taste coverage in a single sip. So let's find out more. In the quiet hum of cafe, where the hiss of steam and the clink of porcelain cups form a familiar symphony, lies a mystery that has puzzled baristas and scientists alike. Why is espresso is so difficult to make in consistently? So one day the shot is rich, velvety, and crowned with the golden crema. The next it is thin, bitter, or sour. So behind this fickleness is not just art but physics. An intricate dance of water, pressure, and porous coffee grounds. At its heart, espresso is a story of flow. Hot water, driven by 9 bars of pressures, must weave its way through a tightly packed bed of ground coffee, and each particle is tiny labyrinth and offering resistance, redirecting streams and shaping flavor. But here lies the paradox. Coffee grounds are not uniform. They are a chaotic mix of fine dust and larger granules, creating uneven pathways. So water, ever obedient to physics, seeks the path of least resistance. It carves the channel, rushing through the looser pockets while the neglecting dense one. So the result is uneven. Extraction, some grounds surrender their rich oils and sugar, while the other remains stubbornly untouched. So before we go further, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So let's understand the coffee more. So physicists studying espresso have turned to fluid dynamics and porous media theory to decode this puzzle. They discovered that the grind size and the distributions are critical. Too fine and the bed becomes near solid wall, choking the flow, producing bitterness. too coarse and the water gushes through and leaving the flavor behind. The sweet spot lies in balance, a grind that allows water to permeate evenly, neither flooding nor suffocating. But the grind alone is not enough. Packing the ground, known as tamping, introduces another layer of physics. A uniform tamp creates a level surface, ensuring pressure is distributed evenly. An unseen tamp tilts the battlefield, encouraging water to rush through one side, creating a dreaded channeling and experiment with this high-speed cameras and sensors have shown how even slightest inconsistencies in tamps can alter the trajectory of water, changing the chemistry of the cup. So temperature too also plays a vital role. Water at 92 or around 96 degrees centigrade extract a soluble compound differently depending on its heat. Sugar dissolve quickly and acids more slowly, and the bitter alkaloid last of all. So a stable temperature ensure these compounds emerge in harmony, producing the balance complexities Expro is known for. So fluctuation, however, is like a timeline. It creates a timeline, and too cool and acidity dominates, too hot and the bitterness overwhelm. So recent breakthrough came when the physicist modeled espresso extraction using computational simulations. They created the coffee bed as a porous medium, alike to soil or sandstone, and applied equation of fluid flow. The model revealed that the consistency improves not by maximizing the extraction, but by accepting the slight reduction. In other words, aiming for 20% of extraction rather than pushing towards 25% yield more reliable results. So this counterintuitive insight reframe the espresso not as a quest for perfection in every particle, but a balance across the whole bed. For baristas, these findings are liberating. So they suggest that the precision tool grinding with uniform burrs and tempers with calibrated pressure machines with stable thermal systems are not luxuries but necessities for consistency. So they also highlight the artistry of restraint. Knowing when to stop purchasing the last drop of flavor and instead embracing the physics of flow. So beyond the cafe, the implication ripples outward. Espresso became a metaphor for complexities in porous system. From oil recovery to geology to drug recovery, delivery to in medicines. The same equation that describe water through coffee grounds can model fluid through tissues or rocks. So in this way, the humble espresso shot connects the morning ritual to scientific frontiers. And so the next time when you sip perfectly balanced espresso, remember it is not just the skill of barista nor the quality of beans, but the invisible hand of physics guiding every drop. So within that small cup lies a universe of equation, a symphony of flow, and the quiet triumph of science over chaos. So in the end, the pursuit of perfect espresso is not simply about taste. It is about harmony between science and ritual. So every shot embodied the law of flow and the resistance, the balance of heat and pressure, the subtle choreography of countless particles yielding their essence to water. So what once seemed like a chance is revealed by physics. in motion and a quiet order beneath the chaos. So each cup becomes more than a beverage. It is a distillated lesson in precision, patience, and the beauty of natural laws. So to savor the espresso is the savior of triumph of science made tangible, where the flavor flows as predictably as equation, yet still feels like a magic in the hand. So we have come to the end. Thanks for watching. We look forward for your comments. Please like and subscribe our channel and see you in the next one. But before we end, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
The resume is fading and the algorithm are rising. Welcome to the new age of hiring. For our generation, the resume has been the passport to opportunity, a single sheet of paper meant to capture the essence of person's career, ambition, and potential. Recruiters relied on it as their compass, scanning from keywords, actually judging the experience and making the judgment further. And that shaped the lives and the companies alike. But in today's corporate world, the compass is being recalibrated. Artificial intelligence has entered the hiring arena, shifting the focus from polished resume to predictive algorithm. What once depend on the human intuition is now increasingly governed by machine logic. And the ripple effect are transforming not only how company recruit, but also how candidates present themselves. For decades, the hiring process has revolved around the resume, carefully crafted document meant to summarize a candidate's skill, experience, and aspirations. Recruiters would shift through the stacks of resumes, searching for the right fit and often relying on the intuition and human judgment. But today, the familiar ritual is being disrupted. Algorithms are shaping in and reshaping corporate hiring strategies and slowing down the traditional recruitment as we know it. Artificial intelligence is no longer confined to futuristic speculation. It is embedded in the very fabric of talent acquisition. So companies are deploying AI-driven platform that scan thousands of applications in a second, identifying patterns invisible to human eye. And instead of recruiters spending hours and judging the resumes and finding out the right candidate, machine learning models evaluated it very, very fast and very the behavioral clue and the skill is being judged by the machine. Competencies are judged by the machines, and the result is hiring process is more faster, more data driven, and at least in theory more objective. Yet this shift is not without tension. Traditional recruitments relied heavily on human interaction. The handshake at the interview, the nuances, reading of a candidate's personality, the gut feeling that someone might be a cultural fit. AI challenges this by reducing the process in qualifying metrics. So algorithm can rank candidate by predictive job preferences, but they cannot replicate the warmth of human connection. And this raises a profound question. Are we hiring people or are we hiring data points? So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now going forward, when we are talking about resume and the algorithm shift in the job market, the corporates are embracing the AI because it promises efficiency. In industries where the talent demand is high, AI tool can cut hiring timelines dramatically, and they can also help reduce bias, at least when designed carefully and of course by focusing on the skill rather than demographic markers. For example, AI can highlight the candidate from unconventional background who might otherwise be overlooked. So paradoxically, if the algorithm are actually trained on biased historical data, they risk perpetuating the very inequalities they are meant to solve. So the slowing of traditional recruitment is evident in diminishing role of resume themselves. So increasingly, the companies are actually finding this easy, and the companies are also asking candidates to demonstrate the skill through online assessment, coding challenges, and or sometimes gamified test. An AI system then evaluate these results often before a human recruiter even see the candidate's name. So the resume, once the centerpiece of hiring, is becoming a supportive document at the best. And this transformation also changes the role of recruiters. Instead of manually screening resume, recruiters are becoming interpreters of AI insight. So this is how the job market is evolving. Their job is shifting towards relationship building, employers branding, and ensuring that the human element is not lost in the set of algorithm. In this sense, AI is not eliminating recruiters, it is redefining their responsibilities. For job seekers, the implications are profound, very high. So, and I think you're also aware of this change in the market. So, when we talk about the candidates and the getting hired by big companies, by corporate, so there's the role of crafting a resume with a clever wording may no longer be enough. Candidate must learn to speak algorithm and tailoring their application to highlight measurable skills, and also the AI system which actually AI system recognize. At the same time, they must prepare for the recruitment journey that feels less personal, more automated, and sometimes opaque. Transparency is how these algorithms work, and will be crucial to the meaning of trust for for hiring also. Ultimately, the rise of AI is hiring a kind of a balance, a story of a balance, The efficiency and the scales are undeniable, definitely an advantage, but they must be they also weighed against the fairness sometimes. And maybe you can say more on empathy, or sometimes you may feel that they are less empathic. So the human judgment is not there that much, which was there earlier. The future of recruitment will likely to be hybrid. Algorithm handling the heavy lifting of the data analysis, and while the human provide the nuances, the context, and the compassion that machine cannot replicate. So when we say that algorithm over resume, we are not just describing a technological shift. We are witnessing a cultural transformation, and that is also at the same time how company define talent, how individual present themselves, and how society negotiate the line between human intuitions and machine precision. So the resume may not disappear entirely, but its reign as the king of hiring is definitely ending. In its place, the new era of emerging, one where the algorithm and the human must learn to collaborate in the delicate art of choosing what we get in the job. So in the end, the rise of AI in recruitment is not simply a technical actually shift or a technical upgrade. It is a cultural turning point. The resume, once the centerpiece of professional identity, is being overshadowed by algorithms that promise speed, scale, and sharper insight. Yet the human element remain irreplaceable. The company will need a strike, definitely a delicate balance, letting machine handle the data while the people preserve the empathy, the intuition, and nuances that define meaningful work in relationship. So as we move forward, the question is not whether algorithm will replace the resume, but how human and machine will collaborate to redefine the hiring means. So the future of recruitment will be less about polished documents and more about demonstrated skills, adaptability, and authenticity. And in that the future success will belong to the organization that embrace the technology without losing sight of humanity. So we have come to the end. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, and we'll see you in next one. Before we close this video, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Friends, the universe isn't just expanding, it is going somewhere. from the mysterious great attractor to the inevitable big freeze, where everything actually heading? That's a very big question that we want to address today. In this video, we trace the ultimate trajectory of every star, galaxy, and atom in existence. Have you ever wondered about the final destination of the cosmos while we go about our daily lives? Our Milky Way galaxy is screaming through space at 2.2 million kilometers per hour. But where it is going, what is pulling it? Let us discuss this further.
On a clear night, the universe looks like a photograph, frozen, eternal. But the truth is, we are living inside a cosmic stampede. Right now, you are sitting on a planet that is spinning at 1600 kilometers per hour. The planet is orbiting a star at 107,000 kilometers per hour. The star is dragging us around the center of the Milky Way at 800,000 kilometers per hour, but even the galaxy itself isn't sitting still. Our entire island universe is screaming through the void towards a destination we cannot see, and the overall speed at which we are moving right now is 2.2 million kilometers per hour. Everything, every star, every black hole, every atom is on a journey, but where is it actually going? Is there a finish line, or is the universe just running away from itself? Today, we are tracing the ultimate trajectory of the cosmos from the great attractor to big freeze. We are looking at the final map of the existence itself. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand where we are going, we have to look at our neighborhood. We live in a Lanakia supercluster, a massive web of 100,000 galaxies spanning 500 million light years. For decades, the astronomer noticed something strange. The Milky Way and our neighboring galaxies aren't just drifting, they are being pulled. We are moving towards a specific region of space hidden behind the zone of avoidance, an area obscured by our own galaxy's dust, and therefore we actually cannot see clearly what is where we are going and what is pulling our galaxies. We call this mystery the great attractor. It's the gravitational anomaly so massive it is warping the movement of the galaxies across hundreds of millions of light years. It's like cosmic drain, and we are the water circling it. But here is the twist. We will likely never arrive at that point. Why? Because while gravity is trying to pull us together, something else is trying to rip us apart. In the late 1990s, we discovered the universe isn't just expanding, it is accelerating. This is thanks to the dark energy, a mysterious force that makes up roughly about 68% of the universe. Think of it like this. Gravity is the glue trying to hold the room together, but the dark energy is the floor constantly stretching in every direction. Because space is expanding faster than the speed of light at great distances, the great attractor is actually losing the tug of war. Eventually, the expansion will become so fast that even the pull of the Lanakia won't be enough to hold us into this particular group. We are entering an era of the great divorce. In few billion years, every galaxy outside our local group will disappear beyond the cosmic horizon. They will be moving away so fast that their light will never reach us again. We will be left in a lonely, dark neighborhood. So if we aren't hitting the great attractor, what is our immediate destination then in that case? So in about 4.5 billion years, our own galaxy has a date with destiny. The Andromeda galaxy is currently heading straight for us at 110 kilometers per second, very high speed. This isn't a crash, it's a dance. The two galaxies will pass through each other, their stars rarely colliding because the space is so empty. Gravity will eventually pull them back together, merging them into a single massive elliptical galaxy dubbed as Milkomeda. By the time this happens, our sun will have become a red giant, likely swallowing the Earth. The solar system as we know it will be done, but the atoms that made up our body will be part of the brand new giant star system. But where does the journey finally end? If the expansion continues forever, we reach the ultimate destination, the big freeze, also known as the heat death of the universe. As the space stretches, the gas needed to create stars become too thin. One by one, the light of the universe goes out. The stelliferous era ends, which is known for star formation, and therefore the stars will stop forming. And the degenerate era will begin. Only white dwarf, neutron stars, and black hole will remain. The black hole era will be the third one, when black holes eventually evaporate through Hawking radiation. So what is left? A universe at a uniform temperature of nearly absolute zero, no energy, no movement, no time. Everything that was once a planet, a person, or a galaxy will be reduced to thin mist of photons and electrons drifting in an infinite cold dark. It sounds bleak, but look at in another way. We are living in the golden age of the universe, a brief, brilliant window where the stars are close enough to see and the galaxies are close enough to touch. Everything is moving away, yes, but that makes the fact that we are here right now witnessing it, and all the more miraculous things are going to happen in the near future. We might not like where the universe is going, but we can only imagine what a view we have on the way there, right? So friends, thanks for watching, and if you want to keep exploring the edge of the cosmos, subscribe and join for the next journey. Until next time, before we wind up today's session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, in today's hyper-distracted corporate world, business leaders are facing unprecedented burnout, decision fatigue, and market volatility. What if the ultimate solution to the modern corporate chaos was written over 7,000 years ago? Therefore, in this video, we break down Bhagavad Gita's lessons and reveal how it serves as a powerful framework for the 21st century's executives, founders, and CEOs. Let's go. Look at the modern corporate landscape and you will notice a strange paradox. We have more data, faster communication, and better AI tools than at any point in time in the human history. Yet, today's CEOs and business leaders are more overwhelmed, exhausted, and distracted than ever before. We call it decision fatigue. And we also call it market volatility, and we also call it the constant pressure to innovate. But what if the real problem isn't the lack of resources but the lack of anchoring? What if the ultimate antidote to the corporate chaos was written over 7,000 years ago on a battlefield? So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Today we are diving deep into the ancient text that holds a revolutionary blueprint for the modern executive leadership. We are looking at Bhagavad Gita's chapter 9 and verse 13. In this verse, Bhagwan Krishna drops a truth bomb that completely flips our modern definition of the power, control, and leadership on its head. Let's read the verse, and the quote starts, "But those who are Mahatmas surrender to divine energy and accept me as the singular source of all existence. They remain absorbed in me with mind and intelligence." Quote close. For the modern CEO, the words like surrender, divine energy, and absorption might sound out of place in a quarterly board meeting. But over the next few minutes, we are going to decode why this exact verse is a missing link to the hyper-focused, sustainable business growth and indestructible mental peace. Let's start with the first key word in this verse, which is Mahatma. In Sanskrit, Maha means great and Atma means soul. A great soul, that is Mahatma. In the corporate world, we have plenty of managers, plenty of directors, and plenty of traditional CEOs. A traditional CEO operates largely from the ego. They believe they are the sole engine driving the company. They carry the weight of the entire organization on their shoulders. It's a mindset that says, if I don't micromanage, then and if I don't control every variable, everything will collapse. So what happens to an ego-driven leader? Burnout, anxiety, strategic blindness. Bhagwan Krishna says that the true leaders, the Mahatma, operate differently. A Mahatma CEO understand that they are not the ultimate controller. They are the conduit. They switch their operating system from ego-driven management to purpose-driven stewardship. When you view your company not as a personal empire to conquer, but as a vehicle to serve a larger, higher purpose, your relationship with the stress changes completely. You stop reacting to daily market fluctuations with panic and you start leading with deep, unshakable, long-term vision. Now, let's look at the most misunderstood word in the business, which is surrender. The verse states, surrender to divine energy. Right? To the modern executive, surrender sounds like weakness. It sounds like giving up, quitting, or waving the white flag. But in context of Bhagavad Gita, surrender is the ultimate act of strategic power. Think about the concept of flow state in psychology. What athletes call being in the zone. When the elite athlete is in the zone, they aren't overthinking every muscular movement. They are surrendered their rigid, anxious, conscious mind to a deeper, intuitive intelligence. For a CEO, surrendering to a divine energy or a higher cosmic order means acknowledging a fundamental truth. You cannot control the outcome. You can only control the input. When you surrender to the obsessive anxiety over the result, the stock price, the competitors' next move, the macroeconomic shifts, etc., you suddenly free up massive amount of cognitive bandwidth. You stop wasting energy, fighting variable that you cannot change, and your channel 100% of your power into what you can do right now, right? And that is what Bhagwan Krishna means by surrendering to divine energy. It is aligning yourself with the natural flow of reality rather than fighting against it. The verse goes on to say that these great minds accept me as singular source of all existence. They remain absorbed in me with mind and intelligence. Right? This is a masterclass in focus. The biggest enemy of the modern CEO isn't the lack of opportunity, it is an absolute surplus of distraction. It's what the tech theorists call shiny object syndrome. Founders chase every new trend, pivot with every 3 months, scatter their company's energy in 50 different directions. When your mind is scattered, your execution is weaker. But look at the instructions here. Quote starts again, absorbed with mind and intelligence, quote close. When a leader identifies as a singular source, a core, unbinding higher mission for their enterprise and anchor their entire intellect to it, something magical happens. The noise evaporates. Every new partnership purpose filtered through singular source. Every new product line, evaluated by core mission. Every internal conflicts resolved by the aligning with the higher purpose. So this level of absorption is what separated leaders like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk from average executives. They had an almost spiritual, unwavering obsession with singular vision. They didn't care about standard industry norms. They were completely absorbed in bringing a specific future into reality. When you apply your analytical intelligence alongside a deeper focus mind, you achieve what Gita calls ekagrata, one pointed concentration, and one pointed corporate strategy is virtually unstoppable. So, how do you take chapter 9, verse 13 out of the realm of philosophy and put it directly into your boardroom tomorrow morning? And here are the 3 concrete steps for the modern executive. Step 1, define your singular source. What is the absolute unshakable core purpose of your company beyond just making money? And if your goal is profit, your leadership will always be very fragile. You'll find that the higher impact that anchors your organization is very, very weak, on a very weak footing. Step 2, practice active surrender daily. Before you open your laptop or walk into a high stakes negotiations, take 2 minutes of silence. Mentally give up your attachments to the final results. Say to yourself, I will give this to my absolute highest intelligence and effort, but I will surrender the outcome to the universe. Watch how quickly your anxiety drops completely. Step 3, protect your absorption, cut the noise, block out deep work time on your calendar where your mind and intelligence are entirely focused on higher leverage, long-term strategic thinking, completely insulated from emails, slacks, and daily fires. Leadership is lonely, it is heavy, and is exhausting if you try to do it all through the power of your own limited ego. But Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 13 reminds us that you don't have to carry the world alone. By stepping into the shoes of Mahatma, by leaning into higher divine energy and absorbing your mind and intellect into singular noble vision, you don't just build a successful company, you build a resilient, peaceful and legacy defined life. True power doesn't come from forcing the world to bend to your will. True power comes from aligning your leadership with the ultimate source of all existence. So, friends, what do you think about this? If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining live. If this ancient perspective on modern business resonated with you, hit that like button. Share this video with your fellow entrepreneurs or executives who need to hear this today. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into timeless wisdom of modern leaders. Lead from the source, stay focused. And before I actually go to the Q&A, because there are some messages as well, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. So friends, we had a very successful, very good session today, and there were few messages. I would like to display those messages. First is Nightmare J. Nightmare J, your message and your ID is displayed on the screen and you said hi. So how can I help you? If you have any questions, please let me know, Nightmare J. Thank you for saying hi and very good morning from India. All right, so I will see you very soon in the next video, which is about business. And so please hold on and stay tuned. Bye for now. Friends, India and New Zealand have officially made history. In this video, we dive deep into the landmark India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement FTA signed on April 27, 2026. This once-in-a-generation deal is all set to transform bilateral relations with the staggering 20 billion investment commitment from New Zealand into India and massive boost for Indian exporters. Let us discuss this in much more detail. In the world of global economies, some deals are just business as usual. But then there are deals that rewrite history. On April 27, 2026, India and New Zealand didn't just sign a paper. They launched a $20 billion revolution. We're talking about the India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. Imagine this. 100% duty-free access for over 8,000 Indian products. A massive $20 billion investment commitment coming into India, and a total overall of all students and professionals move between these two nations. But why now? Why New Zealand? And most importantly, how does this deal affect your pocket, your business, or also your career? Today we are breaking down this $20 billion handshake. So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further on our analysis. Let's start with the big win for Make in India. Before the deal, Indian exporters faced a steep climb. We're talking about tariff as high as 10% on things like carpets, ceramic and auto parts. But as of this week, that barrier has been obliterated. New Zealand has granted India a perfect score, which is 100% of Indian export product line will now enter New Zealand with zero custom duty. And who are the biggest winner? Biggest winners are the textile and apparel. And if you are a garment manufacturer in Tirupur or Ludhiana, the New Zealand market just opened its door wide open. Immediate zero duty status means India now has a massive edge over regional competitors. Leather and footwear is the next one. The leather hub of Agra and Kanpur are celebrating. With tariffs dropping from 5% to zero, experts project the sector could skyrocket to a $50 billion valuation by 2030. Next is engineering and gems. From machinery to handcraft jewelry, the tax wall is completely gone. This isn't just about selling more, it's about making Indian goods the most competitive option in the Pacific. Now let's talk about the money. Most trade deals focus on what we sell to each other. This deal is different. New Zealand has committed to facilitate $20 billion investment into India over next 15 years. Why is New Zealand putting so much skin in the game? It's about trust. They are betting on Indian growth. This capital isn't just sitting in a bank. It is targeted for agri-tech, helping Indian farmers with cold chain logistics and high yield technology. It is going to be invested in infrastructure and startups, fueling the next wave of Indian unicorns. It is also be helping manufacturing, setting up shop right here in India to export globally. And here is a kicker. There is a rebalancing clause. If that $20 billion isn't flowing as promised, the deal has a formal mechanism to review and fix it. This is accountability at its finest. So if you are a student or a professional listening to this video, listen closely. This FTA isn't about cargo ships, it's about people. For the first time, New Zealand has created a temporary employment entry pathway specifically for 5,000 Indian professionals. Whether you are in IT, engineering, healthcare, or even a yoga instructor or an Indian chef, you can now work in New Zealand for up to 3 years at a time. In a slot of 3 years at a time, right? And for the student, the game has completely changed. Post-study work rights are now given. So STEM graduates get up to 3 years of working right, and if you are a PhD scholar, you get 4 years. Work while you learn. Student can also work for 20 hours per week during their studies, and absolutely no cap at all. New Zealand has removed numerical caps on Indian student. This isn't just a trade deal, it's a talent bridge. Now I know that some of you are thinking lot of questions you may have in your mind. What about our farmers? India is the world's largest milk producer. Opening the door to New Zealand dairy giant would have been risky, but the Indian negotiator led by Mr. Piyush Goyal stood firm. Dairy, sugar and sensitive agriculture items are excluded from the deal. Our local farmers are protected. Instead, we are seeing a collaboration over competition model. For things like apples, kiwi fruit and manuka honey, India has allowed limited access through quotas. This means New Zealand can send a fixed amount of premium fruits to our markets without hurting local prices. In return, they are setting up center of excellence to help Indian farmers increase their own productivity. It's a win-win that respects the livelihood of the Indian heartland. Prime Minister Modi called this a historic milestone on the road to Viksit Bharat 2047. This is the seventh major trade deal India has signed in the last few years, and it won't be the last. With $20 billion on the table, zero duties for our exporters, and new horizons for our youth, the India-New Zealand partnership is no longer under leverage. It's a powerhouse. So, friends, what do you think? Is this deal that finally put Indian MSMEs on the global map? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you found this breakdown helpful, and subscribe for more deep dive into the deals shaping India's future. My name is CK and I'll see you again in the next one. Before I close, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello friends. The big question that we want to tackle today is, can the ancient wisdom make you a better leader in 2026? In this video, we dive deep into Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 8 to uncover the secret of equanimity for modern executives, which is very essential. We will discover why the most successful CEOs aren't just masters of the market, they are the master of their own mind. Let us explore this further.
What if the universe grand finale isn't millions of years away, but lurking closer than we dare to imagine? Quantum physics, with its razor-sharp recalculation, is rewriting the cosmic script, hinting that the end of the everything may arise sooner than our star-lit dreams allow. In this dance of particles and probabilities, the cosmos itself trembles and reminding us that the existence is not eternal but executively fragile. So let's find out more about this. For centuries, humanity has gazed into the night sky, wondering not only how the universe began but how it might end. Now, theories have ranged from eternal expansion to a cyclic rebirth, and each shaped by mathematics of cosmology and the evolving lens of physics. Now, recent recalculation in quantum physics have unsettled this cosmic narrative, suggesting that the universe is ultimate fate may arrive far sooner than once imagined. Now, at the heart of this revelation lies the delicate interplay between quantum mechanics and cosmology. Traditional model relied heavily on Einstein's general relativity, which described the large-scale structure of space-time time and moving forward. Yet that this theory also says that relatively alone cannot account for the strange and probability behavior of particles at the smallest scale. The quantum physics, with its uncertainty in the principle and the wave function, has begun to rewrite the script by applying this quantum correction to cosmological equation. The researchers have found that the lifeline of universal decay, and whether through heat, death, vacuum collapse, or a big rip, may be dramatically shortened. Now, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine our reach of the channel. So, moving forward. So, one recalculation actually focus on quantum vacuum, the seeing energy field that underpin the reality. While once thought to be stable, new models suggest that it may harbor the instabilities that could trigger a catastrophic phase transition. Now imagine space-time itself suddenly reconfiguring like ice melting into the water, but on the cosmic scale, such an event would actually ripple outward and at the speed of light, rewriting the law of physics and its spread. The unsettling implication is that the universe apparent calm may mask a tricking quantum clock. So another line of inquiry actually examined dark energy, the mysterious force driving cosmic expansion. Quantum actually refinement is actually its behavioral hint, and that definitely gives few clues of expansion may accelerate to the destructive extremes. So galaxies, stars, planets, even the atom could eventually be torn apart in a big rip. What was once projected trillions of years into future now appears closer, and perhaps within a fraction of that time scale. So the recalculation do not pinpoint on an exact date, but they shift the horizon from comfortably abstract to hauntingly convincible. So for humanities, these findings are both humbling and inspiring. On one hand, they remind us that our fragility, suspended into universe and whose rules are still being deciphered. On the other hand, they underscore the power of science to illuminate mysteries and once thought unknowable. Now, when we talk about quantum physics with its paradox and probabilities, it is not merely a tool for particle accelerator. It is a key to understand the existence itself. So philosophically, the shortened timeline actually forces us to confront the questions of this meaning. And if the universe is finite and its end nearer than expected, what does that imply for human behavior, human hard work, and human endurance? Some argue that it heightens the urgency of exploration. and compelling us to seek new worlds and new knowledge while the time remains. The other C is as a call to cherish the present and to recognize the fleeting beauty of existence and against the backdrop of cosmic impairments or kind of deletion of the existence. Now, in the end, the recalculation do not spell actually say, or it doesn't give a kind of an impression of doom. So much so they also expand the perspectives in all the scenarios. The universe may be more fragile, more dynamic, and more unpredictable, but we imagine, that's what we imagine, and yet within that uncertainty lies wonder. So you will also agree in this concept. To live at the moment with the quantum physics reshapes our understanding of cosmos and is to stand at the edge of revelation. And the stars above are not merely distinct light, they are the markers of stories whose ending may be closer but earlier as we thought. But these meaning is also ours to write and rewrite our future ahead. So the cosmos whisper of sobering truth and the and may be actually distinct abstraction, but the horizon inches closer with each quantum click and each quantum tick which is happening. Yet within this fragile countdown lies a greatest gift, the chance to marvel, to discover, and to create meaning in the fleeting brilliance of existence. The universe may be finite, but wonder is infinite, and so is a human spirit to explore more, and it is our to carry until the very last of star fades. That's what the exploration, the zeal of living ahead, or finding more finite and or infinite brilliances and in life and in cosmos ahead. So we have come to the end of this video, and thanks for watching. We look forward for your comments on this topic, and please like and subscribe our channel. We'll see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Friends, we all know that the stars, when they run out of their fuel, explodes into a supernova, especially the kind of star which are much larger than sun. They have to be larger than sun in order to become a supernova. However, there are certain stars which don't simply explode. They turn into a hot blowtorch. And this is a very specific phenomena. And to understand this type of supernova, we will take a deep dive into high energy astrophysics, and we will examine this phenomena, which is known as hotter than hell, also known in scientific term as the fast blue optical transient, and also known as the blue death. What is this phenomena? Let us explore this further.
Friends, in the vacuum of space, color is a liar. We have been taught from childhood that the red means hot and the blue means cool. Think of your kitchen faucet. But in the realm of high energy astrophysics, the universe flipped the script. Red is the color of dying ember, and blue is the color of cosmic blowtorch. But most stars end their lives in a predictable fiery explosion we call supernova. They expand, they glow red or orange, and they fade over months. But recently we have discovered something that defies this particular rule. A class of explosion so fast, so bright, and so intensely blue that they have earned a terrifying nickname, which is fast blue optical transient, or FBOT. So we call them FBOTs. Today we are diving into the hotter than hell physics of blue stellar deaths. We aren't just talking about big explosions, we're talking about the most violent thermal events since the Big Bang. Well friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand why a blue death is so significant, we have to talk about Wien displacement law. In simple terms, the hotter an object is, the shorter the wavelength of the light it emits. A standard supernova might reach temperature of 10,000 to 20,000 Kelvin. That put them firmly in the visible white to yellow range. But these blue transient, they are screaming at a temperature exceeding 40,000 Kelvin, and in some cases hitting hundreds of thousands of degrees in their initial movements. When a star dies blue, it is telling that the energy density is off the chart. It is not just emitting light, it is emitting high frequency, high energy photons that sit right on the edge of the ultraviolet and X-ray spectrum. The question is, what kind of star has enough fuel to die this spectacularly? You can't get a blue explosion from a boring star like our sun. For a hotter than hell exit, you need a Wolf-Rayet star. These are the heavyweight of the galaxy. Stars that started out at 20 or 30 times the mass of sun, but has already blown off their outer layers of hydrogen. What is left is naked exposed core of helium, carbon and oxygen burning with a ferocity that is hard to visualize. Because they have lost their cushion of hydrogen, when the core collapses, there is nothing to slow down the shock wave. It is like an engine exploding without a hood. The energy hits the vacuum of space instantly. This lack of an outer envelope is the first ingredient in the recipe for the fast blue optical transient. For a long time, these were just theoretical. Then came a phenomenon known as AT2018 COW, which is cow, AT 2018 cow. Astronomers affectionately called it the cow because of its random letter designation. But there was nothing gentle about it. The cow was 10 to 100 times brighter than the normal supernova, and it reached its peak brightness in just 3 days. A typical supernova takes weeks to ramp up. The cow didn't just explode, it flashed. What shocked scientists most was the blue signature. It stayed hot for far too long. According to the standard physics, it should have cooled down as the debris expanded. Instead, it was as if there was a central engine, a hidden furnace inside the wreckage, pumping out fresh energy and keeping the temperature at a blistering blue hot level. So what is that central engine? Physicists currently have two main theories for how these blue deaths occur. Imagine the core collapse. It is so massive that it skips the explosion phase and goes straight into a black hole. As the rest of the star tries to fall into the black hole, it creates a massive traffic jam called accretion disk. This disk spins so fast and gets so hot, it launches a jet of plasma through the star's, whatever the star remains, and nearly at the speed of light. That jet is blue light we see. In this version, the core collapses into a magnetar, a neutron star with a magnetic field trillion times stronger than the Earth's, spinning hundred of time per second. This magnetic whirling injects a colossal amount of kinetic energy into the explosion, acting like a cosmic microwave that keeps the debris cloud at blue hot temperature. So why do we spend millions of dollars on these expensive telescopes to find these blue blips? Because they are the laboratories of the extreme. FPOTs allow us to watch the birth of black holes and magnetars in real time. Usually we find these objects millions of years after they were formed. With blue stellar death, we are seeing the first cry of a new celestial monster. They also act as the cosmic flashlights because they are so bright. They illuminate the gas and dust in distant galaxies, helping us map the cosmic web that holds the universe together. Every time we catch a blue flash, we are refining our understanding of how matter behaves under the most extreme gravity and heat possible. The universe is a violent place, but there is a strange beauty in its destruction. A blue stellar death is the ultimate paradox. A star that has run out of life yet shines with more intensity than billion suns combined. It's a final defiant scream across the vacuum. Next time, when you look up at a clear night sky, remember that twinkling white stars are just the beginning. Out there in the deep dark, something is turning blue, breaking the laws of physics and providing that something truly are hotter than hell. So, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this deep dive into physics of the cosmos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, keep looking up. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, in today's volatile business landscape, even the most successful CEO often find themselves navigating a joyless market, a reality defined by a constant change and the temporary gains. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the profound wisdom as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and we will try and extract the actionable leadership lessons for the modern executive. We will learn why the most resilient leaders are those who ground their strategy in a deeper purpose rather than just the fluctuating bottom lines. Let's go. We live in a world of endless performance metrics, quarterly earnings, and constant digital noise. As a CEO or as a senior leader, you are likely to, must have felt it. That nagging sense of joylessness. Even when you hit your targets, there is a recurring feeling of emptiness, as if the goalpost keeps moving ahead and the victory feels temporary. What if I told you that this specific problem, this feeling of temporary, joyless, and volatile market, was analyzed in detail over 7,000 years ago? Today we are looking at chapter 9, verse 33 of Bhagavad Gita. It is a verse that speaks directly to the nature of our work and offer a profound strategy for leadership that transcends the typical corporate burnout. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now let's proceed further. Let's look at the core of the verse, and the verse start. The Brahmins, kings, and devotees are thus more, predisposed to worshipping me in this temporary and joyless world. And the quote close. It sounds heavy, doesn't it? Temporary and joyless. Let's translate that into modern business terms now. Temporary represents our current market conditions. It refers to the volatility of the stocks, disruption of AI, and the ever-changing consumer trends. It is a reminder that no business position is permanent. Next is joyless. Isn't being sad, it's being lack of intrinsic fulfillment in a transactional environment. If your business model relies solely on the external metrics, you are playing a game that by its very nature cannot offer lasting fulfillment. The verse mentioned three groups, which is Brahmins, which in other terms you can consider as thinker or visionary. Next is kings, which could be leaders or executives, and lastly devotees, which is the seeker. It suggests that these individuals have predispositions towards a higher path. As a leader, you are a king in your own sphere. The lessons here is that you cannot lead effectively if you are as volatile as the market you operate in. If your joy is tied to the stock price, you are a servant to the stock price. If your joy is tied to the market share, you are servant to the competitors. The Gita teaches that the most effective leaders maintain their internal compass, regardless of the external joyless nature of the environment. You stop managing for the sake of transactions and you start managing for the sake of purpose. So how do we apply this in the C-suite, on everyday working day mornings, like Monday morning, for example? Detach from the temporary. That is point number one. And how this will work? Acknowledge that the market is cyclic. Don't build your identity or your company culture on the high or low. Build on why. Next is cultivate inner sovereignty. You are the king. Don't abdicate your mindset to the news cycle. Create a mental space that is non-negotiable, a space for deep thoughts and that the chaos of the office cannot penetrate. Third, lead with higher purpose. The verse suggests that by connecting your actions to a higher intent, We move out of the joyless cycle. When your team sees that you aren't just chasing revenue but serving a greater mission, the joy returns to the work. It becomes meaningful. The market is and will always be temporary, but your influence as a leader doesn't have to be. When you recognize the joyless nature of pure transactional business, you are finally free to inject it with something more. You stop being a slave to the cycle and start becoming the architect of the culture that thrives in spite of the chaos. Leadership in its highest form is the ability to stay grounded while everything else is in motion. And that is the important lessons that we learn from chapter 9, verse 33. So, friends, if this resonates with you, I invite you to reflect on one thing that you have done this week that feels transactional. And if you cannot shift it today to a higher purpose, also let me know. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the ancient wisdom for the modern C-suite. And I will see you again very soon in the next one. Before I part in this video, a few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and Namaskaram. Oil India Limited has officially reported that there is a presence of natural gas in the Andaman offshore basin, a major milestone in the India's quest for energy security. Therefore, in this video, we break down what this discovery means for India's energy future, the significance of the Samudra Manthan mission, and whether the Andaman region could become a game changer for the domestic fuel production. Let's go. Hello everyone, I am CK and welcome back to Akulmach Business. Today we are looking at the recent development that could fundamentally reshape India's energy landscape. For years, the geologists have pointed towards the Andaman Basin as a hidden treasure chest. Well, the wait might be over. State-run Oil India Limited has just reported a significant natural gas discovery in the Andaman offshore region. This isn't just a minor finding, it's being hailed as the ocean of energy opportunity. Today we are going to look at the Sri Vijayapuram 3 well. It's a well basically deep in the ocean near the Andamans, and why this matters for your energy bill and how this fits into India's broader Samudra Manthan mission. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's get into the technicals. Oil India drilled the Sri Vijayapuram 3, an exploratory well about 15 kilometers off the east coast of Andaman Islands. At a water depth of 355 meters, they reached the Econ formation at over 1900 meters deep. What is the result? The result is continuous gas flaring during the initial production testing. This is the smoking gun of the oil and gas world. It confirms that the reservoir isn't just a theory, it's an active working petroleum system. Remarkably, this is the second positive find of just three exploratory well drilled at the specific campaign. The odds are looking better than ever. So the big question is, why now? This discovery is a direct outcome of the Samudra Manthan mission, the national deep water exploration mission announced by Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi on the Independence Day in 2025. The goal is very clear: to move beyond shallow water and unlock the true hydrocarbon potential of India, which is deep water offshore basins. Oil India isn't going at this alone. They are building a strategy to coordinate with global deep water heavyweights. Think of names like Petrobras, Total Energies, BP, Shell, and ExxonMobil. This is about to bring the world class technology to our own backyard, and this is our own Guyana movement. You might remember how massive offshore discovery transformed Guyana's economy. While we aren't there yet, the comparison is being made for a reason. Strategically, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are sitting right next to the Strait of Malacca, one of the world's most critical maritime trade and energy corridors. Beyond just finding gas, establishing a thriving energy industry here strengthened India's economy and strategic presence in the eastern Indian Ocean. It's about energy resilience in a world where supply chains are becoming increasingly volatile. Now, a reality check for our viewers. We are in the discovery phase, not in the production phase. Oil India is currently collecting samples to assess composition, calorific values, and isotopic signatures to understand exactly how this gas was formed. The next steps involve extensive appraisal drilling to determine if there are reserves, and the reserves hold enough material so that drilling is commercially viable. It is a long road, but with the consecutive discoveries, the confidence in this basin is growing by the day. India import about 85% of its crude oil as well as the gas. The massive chunk of the natural gas also comes from the oil producing nations, which is OPEC countries. Every bit of domestic production helps protecting us from the global price shock. It's a great news. So friends, if you are enthusiastic about knowing more, please drop a comment and I will catch you again in the next one. Hello friends, let me ask you, are you leading your business with the clarity needed for the modern market? In this video, we explore a powerful leadership lesson hidden in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 14. By analyzing the imagery of Arjun and Madhav, which is Lord Krishna's another name, on their divine chariot, we uncover the ancient blueprint for the strategic alignment, decisive action and leadership focus. Just as the divine conch signaled readiness for the battle ahead, the CEOs and the business leaders today must ensure their team vision and strategy are perfectly aligned before making your next big move. Discover how integrating these timeless principles can help you and lead your organization with greater purpose and competitive edge. Let's go and explore this further. Welcome. If you are a CEO or a leader in the modern boardroom, you know that the greatest challenge isn't just having a vision, it is the execution. It is ensuring that every department, every manager, and every employee is pulling in the same direction at the exactly the same time. In the corporate world, we call this strategic alignment. But what if I told you that one of the most sophisticated blueprint for alignment was documented thousands of years ago, and therefore today we are looking at the Bhagavad Gita's wisdom, specifically mentioned in chapter 1, verse 14. The verse read, "From Pandav camp, the Madhav and Arjun blew his divine conch from the glorious chariot drawn by the white horses." And uh, this is basically a glorious chariot drawn by the white horses. On the surface, this is a scene of the preparation for war, but for the modern executive, this is the masterclass in organizational readiness. Let's break down how this ancient signal translate into a high-stake modern business strategy. Let us deconstruct the verse. You have the chariot, the white horses, and the divine conch. The chariot, which is your business model, the chariot represents the structural foundation of your organization. It must be glorious, meaning robust, well maintained, and built to handle the terrain of the competitive market. Next is the white horses, which is your strategic asset. Horses in Gita symbolizes the senses and energy driving the movement. For a CEO, these are your teams, your capital, and your technology. If your horses are not perfectly aligned, the chariot moves into circles that and therefore it will not go anywhere. Next is divine conch, the leadership, which is the leadership signal. This is the most crucial part. Before we blow this conch, which is the signal, it is what a movement of unified communication. So what Krishna is trying to tell you is that it is basically about the unified communication. So why do so many companies fail? It is rarely a lack of resource, it's a lack of alignment. As a CEO, your job is to blow the conch. You are the source of signal. If your signal, your vision is muffled or inconsistent, your horses will lose focus. Unified decision making definitely is important here. Like Arjun and Madhav, you need a partnership between the driver, which is the operation strategy, and the warrior, which is the market execution. And this will all basically all about readiness. The blowing of the conch signifies that the decision has been made and the organization is now in a state of readiness for execution. No more deliberations are required, no more doubts. The signals have been given. Friends, how do we apply this on Monday morning? Very good concept, but how do we actually implement it? First is audit your signals. Are you constantly pivoting, or is your conch blast clear enough for everybody to understand? If you have to repeat your vision daily, it means it hasn't been integrated into the teams yet. Ensure your white horse, which is the health or organizations, are your resources, your teams, and technology healthy and prepare for the intensity of the market. And aligned strategy fails if the asset pulling the chariot are exhausted or mismanaged. The feedback loop. In the Gita, the sound of the conch was meant to be heard across the entire field. Your internal communication must have every level of your organization from C suite to the front line. To conclude, chapter 1, verse 14 is not just description of the battlefield, it is a description of the leadership integrity. When leadership is aligned, the strategy is executed with divine precision. Your business is your chariot, your teams are your horses, your vision is the sound of your conch shell. When you blow the signal with absolute clarity, the market listens, and more importantly, your organization moves as one entity towards your ultimate goal. So, friends, this is a lesson from Bhagavad Gita. Thanks for joining this exploration of the ancient wisdom for the modern CEO. If you found this helpful, take a moment to look at how your own chariot is aligned today. So, friends, I will catch you again very soon in the next one. Please do not hesitate to send across your opinion or any question you might have. See you in the next one. For decades, the Indian nuclear sector was forbidden fortress. It was state-run, shielded from private players, and largely close to the global capital. But in 2025, everything changed. The Atomic Energy Commission (AEC) just cleared a policy that effectively ends the nuclear isolation era by allowing up to 49% foreign direct investment, also known as FDI, in small modular reactor (SMRs). India has fired, starting a pistol for a multi-billion-dollar race. Why now? Well, the world is hungry for carbon-free base load power, and India has world most ambitious energy roadmap. We aren't just talking about a few power plants. We're talking about a $200 billion shift. Today, we are breaking down the global investor from the US, France, and Russia are suddenly lining up at the India's door. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's talk technology. Traditional nuclear plants are like massive cruise ships. They take 15 years to build and cost 10 billion or more. If one thing goes wrong, the whole project stalls. Small modular reactors, or the SMRs, are the speedboats and speedboats of the nuclear world. These are the reactors that produce between 77 megawatts and 300 megawatts of power. They are built in factories on the assembly lines and shipped to the site. India has introduced its own version, the Bharat Small Reactor, which is acronym for BSR. Why investors love them? They offer lower entry price. Instead of risking $10 billion, a private company can partner with the Nuclear Power Corporation of India to build a modular unit for a fraction of the cost. So it has speed of delivery. Definitely, you can actually go from groundbreaking to grid connected in about 5 years. For an investor, faster construction means a faster return on investment. The real magic happened in the boardroom. The Indian government passed the Shanti Act of 2025. This wasn't just another law, it was a legal bridge. Before this, foreign companies were terrified of Indian civil liability laws. If there was an accident, the supplier could be sued into bankruptcy. The new policy provider, in fact, clears a framework for risk sharing between Indian state and the foreign investor. By allowing 49% FDI, India is saying, we want your tech and we want your cash, but we will keep the keys to the security of the facility. Therefore, the balance of 51% will be state controlled and 49% will be private investment. And that is why this is a sweet spot. And that has a global giant like Holtec International, GE, Hitachi dusting off their blueprints for Indian soil. The investment isn't just about technology, it's about demand. Indian economy is booming, and definitely it's also growing by leaps and bounds. And the rest of the world can only dream of at that kind of speed India is moving forward. We are building gigafactories for EVs, massive data centers for AI, and huge green hydrogen hubs. All these things have one thing in common. India needs 24/7 power. Solar and wind are great, but they don't work when the sun goes down and the wind stops, right? So SMRs are being pitched as the captive power sources. Imagine massive steel plants in Odisha or a tech park in Bengaluru having its own dedicated SMR right next door. Investors see this industrial demand as the guaranteed revenue stream. It is not just selling power to the grid, it is powering the future of the global manufacturing. Now let's talk about the long game. India has the world's largest reserve of thorium, believe it or not. The traditional reactors runs on uranium, which India has to import. But thorium, we have enough of it in our beaches to power the country for centuries. And what is the catch here? There's always a catch, right? You cannot just put thorium in a standard reactor. You need a breeder process. So SMRs are perfect test bed for this. By inviting FDIs into SMRs, India is accelerating its three-stage nuclear program. The global investors provide capital today for uranium-based SMRs are essentially helping build the infrastructure that will eventually run on thorium. It's a transition that could make India the OPEC of the 22nd century. So, why are the global investors eyeing India at this point in time? It is a perfect storm of the clear policy, which is based on FDI, proven demand, which is the industrial growth, and the futuristic tech, which is based on thorium. India's goal is to hit 100 gigawatt of nuclear power by 2047. It's a massive mountain to climb, but for the first time, India isn't climbing it alone. With global capital and private innovation now in the mix, the atomic age of India hasn't just arrived. It is actually going to get onto overdrive. So, friends, what do you think? Is opening nuclear power to foreign investment is a master stroke for energy independence or a risky move? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech and policy that is shaping India's future. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और हर रोज की तरह हम अपना जो दिन है उसकी शुरुआत करते हैं भगवान की पूजा करके। तो आज है बुधवार, और आज तो गणेश जी की स्तुति बनता है, क्योंकि हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे गणेश जी की पूजा करके, क्योंकि आज का दिन उनको समर्पित है। तो बहुत ही सिंपल सा एक मंत्र हम 11 दफा पढ़ेंगे। और आप तो जानते हैं कि हर रोज की तरह हम अपनी पूजा शुरू करते हैं, और जो मंत्र है 11 दफा अपने हमें थोड़ा सा सहायता मिले तो हम इस काउंटर को यूज करते हैं। और इसमें ये बड़े आराम से हमें इसमें नंबर आ जाते हैं स्क्रीन के ऊपर, पता चल जाता है कि हमारे कितने दफा हो गया है। तो आप कोई भी तरीका यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि हमारे साथ जुड़ें और हमारे साथ इस मंत्र का उच्चारण 11 दफा करें। इससे भगवान गणेश काफी खुश होते हैं। तो चलिए जी, हाथ जोड़ के हम नमन करते हैं और 11 दफा भगवान जी को याद करते हैं। ओम गण गण गणपते नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों हमारे 11 दफा जो स्तुति थी वो पूरी हो गई भगवान गणेश की। अब हम अपना दिन स्टार्ट करेंगे आराम से। भगवान की हमने पूजा कर ली है, तो चलिए अभी आपसे विदा लेता हूँ, लेकिन जल्दी ही मिलता हूँ दूसरे वीडियो में। कहीं मत जाइएगा।
A new eye is about to open upon the universe. An eye so wide it will sweep the heavens like no telescope before. The Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope is not just about any other machine. It is a cartographer of the cosmos poised to chart 1 lakh unseen world and the rogue wanderers that drift starless through the dark. With mirror that rivals Hubble and the field of view 100 times greater, Roman will transform the night sky into a living atlas. Each planet a pin of possibility, each rogue world a story untold. This is not merely a science, it is exploration on the scale that redefines imagination. Romans gaze still stitch together galaxies, measure the invisible hand of dark energies, and reveal that universe is not sparse but teeming, restless, alive. And its sweep, humanity will find not only few planets, but new questions, new frontiers, and perhaps new homes. So let's find out more. The Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope is poised to become one of the NASA's most ambitious instruments, a sentinel designed to widen humanity's cosmic horizon. Unlike telescopes that focus narrowly on a distinct galaxies or nearby stars, Roman's mission is panoramic and to sweep the sky with unprecedented breadth and cataloging world that drift untethered planets and orbit sun far beyond our reach. This is a wide view which allows astronomers to detect up to 1 lakh new planets, a staggering expansion of known cosmic sensors. Among these will be rogue world, planets that wander the galaxies without a parent star, drifting like celestial nomads through the dark. Each discovery will not only add to the tally of the world but also deepens the mystery of planetary formation, migration, and survival in the vastness of space. Roman's design is marriage of precision and scale. Equipped with a 2.4-meter mirror comparable to Hubble's but paired with the advanced detector, it can capture image covering areas of sky 100 times larger than Hubble's field of view. This means the entire star field, galactical cluster, and planetary nurseries will be revealed in a detail and offering astronomers a tapestry of cosmic evolution. Beyond planet, Roman will probe the dark energies that accelerate the universe expansion, map our understanding of cosmic history. Yet its planetary catalogue may prove the most transformative, a reminder that the universe is not sparse but teeming with the world, each potential stage of chemistry, climate, and perhaps even life. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. Now let's continue with our discussion. In essence, the Nancy Grace Roman telescope is not just a machine. It is a promise that night sky hold far more than we have yet imagined, and that with each sweep of its gaze, humanity will step closer to answering the timeless question. What is that? Are we alone? Or are we one among countless travelers in universe of the world? So Roman is more than a machine, it is a storyteller of cosmos. Each discovery will be verse in the grand narratives of creation, migration, and survival, that again reminding us that the universe is not a silent void but a living expanse teeming with the with world. So its mission is both scientific and poetic, to measure the invisible force of dark energy, to map galaxies like constellations of history, and to show us that the night sky is richer than our imagination dares. As Roman prepare to open its gaze, it carries with it the hope that somewhere among these countless worlds lies the answer of our most enduring question. So, in a sweep of Romans' vision, the universe will no longer be a distant mystery, but a vast, untold atlas of world. Each one a reminder that the cosmos is alive, infinite, and waiting to be known. So, we have come to the end of this uh, live streaming on this interesting topic. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hello friends, can the ancient wisdom solve the modern CEO's biggest challenge? In order to answer this question, we dive deep into Bhagavad Gita to explore why the state of Samadhi is becoming the ultimate North Star for the 21st century executive. In the area of market volatility and constant burnout, a leader's greatest asset isn't their strategy, it is their equanimity. We break down the Sanskrit wisdom of Yajna, Kam, and Kushalam through the lens of verse 6.23, which teaches us the true mastery is a state where no external crisis can perturb your inner peace.
In the modern corporate world, we have a name for the principle of success. We call it making it. We envision the corner office, the global influence, the high stake decisions, etc. But if you ask a CEO today what their reality actually looks like, they won't talk about victory. They will talk about volatility. They will talk about the 3 a.m. anxiety, the black swan event, the crushing weight of responsibility for thousands of employees, and the constant noise of 24/7 market. Most leaders are living in a state of high functioning panic. But if I told you that 7,000 years ago, on a battlefield far removed from the glass skyscrapers, a solution was written for exactly this kind of pressure. Today we are looking at Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 23. We are going to explore why Samadhi, a term often reserved for monks in caves, is actually the most practical, competitive, and essential goal for the modern executive. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Let's continue. Let's look at the text, verse 23 of chapter 6, and it says, quote starts, "Let it be known that the state of the severance from the union with the misery is called yoga. This yoga must be practiced with determination and an unprecedented mind." Now let's unpack this first phrase, the severance from the union with misery. As a CEO, you often united with the outcome of your company. If the stock drops, you are miserable. If a competitor launches a better product, you are miserable again. Verse 23 suggests a state of yoga which we call samadhi, where that cord is cut. It isn't that the problem go away. It is that your union with the pain of those problems is severed. This is the state where the leader knows there is nothing greater left to achieve. It is about retirement. It's about reaching a level of internal mastery that makes external chaos irrelevant. The verse continues to explain that in this state, the practitioner is not perturbed by anything come what may. Think about the last crisis you faced. Did you react or did you respond? Well, reaction is emotional. It is driven by the fear of loss. Response is intellectual. It is driven by the samadhi, by clarity. For a CEO, being unperturbed is a superpower. Imagine a boardroom where everyone is losing their head because of the quarterly mess. The leader who has mastered Gita 6.23 sit in the center of the storm. They aren't cold or indifferent. They are simply not shaken. Because they have attained an internal samadhi, their decision making remains clinical, creative, and objective. While others are blinded by the misery, the samadhi led executive sees the path forward. This is the difference between a leader who survives and leader who resigns. Now the Gita is very, very practical. It doesn't say the state happens by accident. It says the state is achieved only by practicing yoga with determination and optimism. So there are several Sanskrit words related to determinism, and the mind does not become despondent. So we will move on. We will not try and read those Sanskrit words in this verse. For an executive, determination means the discipline of the routine. It's the daily meditation, the deep work, the refusal to let the inbox dictate your soul, etc. What is optimism? Optimism is even more critical. In business, things go wrong. Projects fail. Partnership soars. If your mind becomes despondent, if you lose your optimism, your leadership dies. The Gita tells us that samadhi isn't a gift for the lucky one. It's a result of the disciplined mind. It's a practice. You have to train your brain to return to center every single day, just as you would train your body in the gym. Now let's talk about the bottom line. Where should a CEO care about the ancient Sanskrit verses? First is cognitive longevity. Stress kills creativity and samadhi preserves it. Next, talent retention. People follow unperturbed leaders, they don't follow the panicked ones. Third, risk management. When you are free from misery, you don't make desperate, high risk gambles to save your ego. You make calculated moves to grow the vision. In the past, we thought the goal of an executive was more market, more share, more revenue, more accolades. But the Gita suggests that the new executive goal is actually enough. When you reach a state where you know there is nothing greater left to achieve, internally you paradoxically become more effective at achieving things externally. You are no longer hungry and desperate. You are focused and formidable. So as we close this lesson from chapter 6, verse 23, I leave you with a challenge. Look at your calendar for the next week. How much of it is dedicated to the union with misery, the firefighting, the stressing and reacting, and how much is dedicated to severance, the practice of finding your center. The corner office was never meant to be a cage of anxiety. It was meant to be a seed of wisdom. Practice with determination, lead with optimism, and find the state of samadhi where, come what may, you remain the master of your own soul. Thanks for listening, friends. If you have any question or any suggestions, kindly send us a message in the message section below. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, welcome to Executive Learning Session. In today's high pressure corporate world, CEOs are often obsessed with the quarterly reports. But what if focusing less on the result actually would lead to better performance? That's a very big and profound question. Therefore, today in this video, we break down the profound leadership wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And we will also explore how it serves as a blueprint for the modern mindful executives. We explore the concept of Karma Yogi, a leader who performs their duty with intense focus and excellence without becoming slave to the result. So therefore, friends, stick around with this thought and let's explore this further. Picture this. It's 11 p.m. on a Sunday and you're starting working at a spreadsheet. You have got a quarterly board meeting in 48 hours. The numbers aren't where they need to be and your heart is racing. Your sleep is now non-existent and your identity, your very worth as a leader is tied entirely to the bottom right cell of the screen, right? This happens to everybody, isn't it? Well, we have been taught that the greatest leader who you must be result driven. We must obsess over KPIs, exit strategies, and stock prices. But here is a paradox: the more tightly you grip the result, the more likely you are likely to choke the process that creates it. Today, I want to share a piece of wisdom that is 7,000-year old, yet feels like it was written for this morning market volatility. It's from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, first verse of chapter 6. It is a verse that redefines what it means to be a yogi and by extension what it means to be a leader. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Let's proceed further. So now let's look at the verse. Quote starts: a true yogi or a true renunciant is the one who performs his duty renouncing attachment to result, and not one who abandons work or the sacrificial fire. Quote close. Now, when we hear the word yogi or renunciant, we think of someone sitting on a mountain far away from emails and supply chain issues. But Bhagwan Krishna says something radical here. He says the true yogi is not the one who quits. It's the one who stopped doing the work. It's also not that. In business context, Krishna is saying you don't have to quit your job to find peace. You don't have to stop being ambitious. The sacrificial fire for CEO is the office, the factory, and the boardroom. The distinction isn't whether you work, it's how you relate to outcome of what works, etc. So what is the result paradox? So when we attach to the result, we operate from a place of fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of looking bad. When the brain is in the fear mode, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for high level strategy and innovation, shuts down. Attachment creates tunnel vision. You become so focused on the win that you miss the ethical red flags or the innovative pivot that could have saved your company. Attachment creates fragility. If your happiness depends on the green KPI, a red KPI will shatter your confidence completely. So, Gita suggests a better way. Perform your karma, your karma, the duty at hand. Imagine the professional athlete. If a golfer is thinking about a trophy while they are, mid swing, they will miss the shot. To win the trophy, they must forget the trophy exists and focus entirely on the mechanics of the swing. That is leading without attachment. The verse mentioned not abandoning the sacrificial fire. In ancient times, this was the literal fire of ritual. Today, for a leader, it is the energy of the action. Leading without attachment does not mean leading without excellence. In fact, it requires more excellence. When you aren't worried about how the result will make you look, you are free to be. There are several things you are free to be. First is bold, because you aren't afraid of the fallout. Second is the present, because you aren't living in the future quarter. And third is the objective, because you see the data for what it is, not what you want it to be. A true CEO, which is yogi, performs their duty because it is the right thing to do, not because it means something to, earn your bonus, etc. They treat their company as a sacrifice, a contribution to the world. So, how do we actually do this? How do we walk into the board meeting tomorrow and lead without the attachment? There are few ideas which I want to share with you. First is shift from what to how. Instead of asking, will they reach the target? Ask, are we executing this with the highest level of integrity and skill? If the process is perfect, the result is inevitable, and it's the inevitable byproduct. Second, the 5-minute de-tether. Before a high stake pitch, take 5 minutes to remind yourself, I have a right to work, but not to the fruits. Tell yourself that your value as a human being is independent of this deal. Watch how much more charismatic and calm you would become before you get into the meeting. Now, the third idea is reward effort, not just outcome. So, as a leader, stop only celebrating the wins. Start celebrating the karma as well. The disciplined, high quality effort, even when it doesn't lead to a win, this builds a culture of psychological safety. So, Bhagavad Gita isn't asking you to be less ambitious. In fact, it is asking you to be freer. So when you stop being a slave to the result, you become master of your actions. You will become unshakable executive. You will still show up and you still, the light of fire, and you still do the work, but you do it with a smile, knowing that while you cannot control the wind, you can always control how you set your sail. So friends, what do you think? Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining live. Let's go back to the fire and do the work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send it across. Before I wind up this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. and these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy, comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Friends, is a new trade war which is dubbed as 2.0 beginning? As the US radically rewrites its global tariff rules, India is launching a high stake diplomatic mission to Washington DC. And therefore, in this video, we dive deep into why an Indian delegation led by Chief Negotiator Mr. Darpan Jain is rushing to US capital on April 20th, 2026 to save $1 billion trade deal. So what is happening now? Well, the trade landscape between the world's two largest democracies has shifted overnight following a landmark US Supreme Court ruling that limited the president's emergency tariff powers. The Trump administration has introduced a new 10 to 15% global surcharge under Section 122 of the Trade Act. Now, this move has effectively reset the 18% tariff framework India and US agreed upon during the early February 2026. Now, India is fighting to maintain its competitive edge as other global players face the same flat rate. Let us discuss this further. On February 7th, 2026, the world thought the trade war between India and the US was finally over. Headlines around the globe announced the breakthrough. Washington would slash tariff on Indian goods to be a flat 18%, and in exchange the trade king and the Make in India giant would enter a new era of cooperation. But in the global politics, nothing is final until the ink is dry. Fast forward to today, that 18% deal, it's practically on the paper shredder right now. Why? Because of the US Supreme Court just dropped a legal bombshell that stripped the president of his emergency tariff powers. In response, the Washington has hit the reset button, rewriting the global trade playbook with a brand new 10% global surcharge. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Now, As you watch this, a high-level Indian delegation led by Chief Negotiator Mr. Darpan Jain is on a plane to Washington DC. They would land on April 20th, and their mission would be to save India's 87 billion export market from being swallowed by a trade war 2.0. To understand why India is rushing to DC, we have to look at what happened in the courts. For over a year, the Trump administration used the International Emergency Economic Power Act (IEEPA) to slap reciprocal tariffs on countries including India. But on February 20th, 2026, the US Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the president cannot use this act to raise revenue generating tariffs. It was a massive rebuke of the executive power. Overnight, the legal foundation for the India-US deal, the one that promised an 18% rates, evaporated. The administration had to halt all IEEPA collections. But if you think this means free trade is back, think again. The administration immediately pivoted to Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. This is a global surcharge of 10% on all imports from all countries to address international payment problems. It's valid for 150 days. You might be asking, wait, if the new US tariff is only 10%, isn't that better for India than 18% they agreed to in February? So on paper, yes, but in the world of trade, it is all about comparative advantages. Under the old deal, India was going to pay 18% while its competitor like China or Vietnam might have been paying 25% or even 50% in certain cases. The gap made Indian goods cheaper. But under the new Section 122, everyone pays 10%. Suddenly, India loses its special edge. Furthermore, there is the Section 301 threat. While the 10% global tariff is a temporary fix, the US Trade Representative USTR has launched a fresh investigation into 16 economies, including India. These probes are looking into forced labor and unfair practices. If these investigations go south, India could face even higher punitive tariffs on top of the 10%. And this is why Mr. Darpan Jain and his team are in Washington this week. They aren't just there for coffee, they are there to finalize the bilateral trade agreement and the legal text. And here are the three main fires they need to put out. First is the solar crisis. The Indian solar module exports to US have already crashed by 35% this year due to fluctuating duties. India needs a stable long-term rate to protect its growing green energy industry. Number two, the Russian oil factor. The US previously hit India with punitive duties because of the India's purchase of Russian oil. While some of those rolled back in February, the new section, which is 301 probe, could bring them back under a different name. And third is the big ticket energy deal. So in exchange for lower tariff, India is looking at buying massive amount of US LNG and nuclear tech. This energy for export swaps is the heart of the deal. India isn't just waiting on the Americans, though. While DC talks are happening, Commerce Secretary Mr. Rajesh Agarwal has confirmed the 2026 roadmap. And it's very interesting. First is the India-UK FTA, expected to go live in May 2026. Second is the India-New Zealand FTA, set to be signed in April, especially on April 27. Third is the EU and Oman FTA. Negotiations are in full swing and final stages. So India is essentially telling Washington, we want to be your partner, but we aren't putting all our eggs in one basket. With the trade deficit between the two nations narrowing down to 34 billion from 40 billion last year, India has some leverage, but the US is playing the hardball. The next 72 hours in Washington will determine the future of your wallet as well as my wallet. From the price of iPhone even though it is assembled in India, to the cost of Indian textiles and pharma in the US. Everything is on the line. Is this the start of a trade war 2.0, or it is just growing pain of a new America first architecture? One thing is certain, the era of easy, predictable global trade is over. So friends, what do you think? Should India stand its own ground, or should it offer more concessions to secure the US market? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into shifting world of global power. Thank you for joining live. Thank you for watching. Before I wind up this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Stop! Before you hit the delete channel button or give up on your next upload, you need to watch this. Most creators quit YouTube exactly 3 feet from the gold. They see flat lines in their analytics and assume they are failing. But in reality, they are simply in a ghost phase, the period where the algorithm tests your consistency and your skills are being sharpened for the big break. In this video, we dive deep into the psychology of the content creation and why 0 views might actually be your biggest competitive advantage. How? Let us discuss this further. You are checking your phone again. It's been 3 hours since you uploaded your latest video and the one you spent all weekend editing. You have refreshed the studio app 10 times and the number hasn't budged. 4 views, 2 of which were probably you. The thought starts creeping in. Is this even worth it? You see other creators blowing up overnight and you feel like you are shouting into a void. You are ready already to quit, but before you hit that delete channel button, I need you to understand one thing. You aren't failing. You are actually in the most important phase of your journey. Most creators quit exactly 3 feet from the goal. Today I'm going to show you why nobody is watching is actually your secret weapon, and why your biggest breakthrough is like hidden right behind the urge to give up. Let's dive in. But before, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. I would also know who's watching and who's not. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is the algorithm. We talk about it like it's a sentient being that hates us. It doesn't, but it's a system built on trust. When you are a new creator or you're trying to pivot, you enter what I call the ghost phase. Think about it. Why would YouTube push your content to millions of people if you are only person you can stay consistent for only 2 weeks? The algorithm is testing two things: your competence and your consistency. During this ghost phase, you have a massive advantage that no big creator has, which is freedom to fail. When nobody is watching, you can experiment, you can find your voice, you can mess up the lighting, and you can make terrible jokes without hundreds and thousands of people judging you. This is your training ground. You are not being ignored, you are being incubated. This is the concept from the book Atomic Habits, called the plateau of latent potential. We expect progress to be in a straight line up. We think if I put in X amount of work, I should see X amount of views. But the growth on YouTube is exponential, not linear. You spend months, maybe years, working in the valley of disappointment, and this is where you are putting in the work, but the result aren't showing yet. You are building the foundation. It's like bamboo tree. It grows underground for 5 years, developing a massive root system, and then it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. So if you quit during the root building phase, the tree will never grow. Every video you make into a flop is actually a root. It's a data point. It's a lesson. It's one step closer to the 80-foot breakthrough. So why do most creators quit right before they win? It's because of the psychological phenomena called cognitive friction. The effort required to make a video feels much higher than the reward of 10 views. To survive this, you have to shift your win condition. If your win condition is to get 1000 views, you get 50, you feel like as if you have lost it. You feel defeated. But if your win condition is like getting 1% better at color grading, or write a more compelling hook, or you do that, you have won already, right? I mean, if you do all of these core competencies, regardless of the view counts, don't you think so? Winning on YouTube is a war of attrition. The pros aren't necessarily the most talented people on the platform. They are the one who refuse to go away. They stayed in the game long enough for the luck to find them. Because on YouTube, luck is just where the preparation meets the long enough timeline. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that you should keep doing exactly the same thing if it is not working. There is a difference between quitting and pivoting. If you have made 50 videos and they all have 0 views, don't quit YouTube. Change your strategy. Maybe your thumbnails are weak. Maybe your intros are too slow. Use the silence to audit yourself. When nobody is watching, you have the lowest stakes possible to reinvent yourself. Don't you think so? So ask yourself, am I making content for me, or am I making content that solves a problem or provide value for someone else? Once you align your passion with audience's need, the nobody watching problem starts to disappear. The hardest part of YouTube isn't the editing or the SEO. It is the mental game. It is showing up on Tuesday morning to film a video when your last 3 uploads tanked. But remember this, every major creator you admire today, from Mr. Beast to MKBHD, had a period where they were talking making videos, but generating zero interest, zero views. They felt exactly how you feel right now. The only difference between them and millions of abandoned channels is that they decided to post one more time. Your breakout video is already in your head. It's coming. It's going to come. Definitely. But you can't find your, it cannot find you if you weren't there to upload it, right? So don't quit. Just get 1% better today. So friends, what do you think? If you have any question or if you want to know more, please leave a comment below and I will see you again in the next one. Before I take your leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, NASA just revealed its next generation high performance space flight computing HPSC processor, a tiny system on a chip that operates nearly 500 times faster than the current space flight computers. Testing at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory JPL proves that the radiation hardened chip could completely eliminate delayed commands from mission control, allowing future rovers and deep space probe to think, navigate and troubleshoot entirely on their own. Therefore, this is very significant, and in this video we break down how this revolutionary AI chip works, how it survives the brutal radiation of deep space, and what this means for upcoming crewed and robotic missions to the moon, Mars and beyond. Let's go. Imagine you're driving a car down a busy highway, but there is a catch. Every time you turn the steering wheel or step on the brakes, it takes 20 minutes for a car to actually react. Sounds like a total nightmare, right? Well, that is exactly how NASA has to drive every single rover, probe and spacecraft currently exploring our solar system. Because of the staggering distance in deep space, radio signal traveling at the speed of light can take anywhere from few minutes to several hours to travel from Earth to place like Mars or Jupiter, and then any other beyond Jupiter, few hours to get a response back. If a rover encounters a sudden hazard like crumbling ledge or an unexpected dust storm, it can't wait for ground control to tell it what to do. It has to stop, shut down and go into a protective safe mode, waiting hours or days for humans to fix the problem. But in May 2026, NASA announces a breakthrough that will challenge the rules of space exploration forever. They have officially built and begun testing a revolutionary new brain for the spacecraft, a tiny microchip that allows deep space probe to finally think, react, and navigate entirely for themselves. So, friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's continue. To understand how massive this upgrade is, we first need to look at the dirty little secrets in the space industry. Space computers are surprisingly ancient. The smartphone in your pocket right now is exponentially faster and much more powerful than many computers on board NASA's most advanced rovers. Why? Because the consumer electronics on Earth don't have to survive a bombardment of high energy cosmic radiation or extreme temperature swing that would instantly fry a standard silicon chip. Space agencies have historically chosen safety and rugged reliability over raw processing speed, but space exploration has reached a bottleneck. Future missions to navigate subterranean caves on Mars or to plunge through icy plumes of Europa requires intense real-time data processing that old chips simply cannot handle. Enter the HPSC, which stands for High Performance Space Flight Computing. Developed through a landmark commercial partnership between NASA, Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Microchip Technology Inc. This processor is a marvel of engineering. It's a system on a chip, or SoC, meaning it packs an entire computer worth of central processing unit, memory, controller, advanced networking units, and computational accelerator onto a single piece of silicon that fit right into the palm of your hand. And the performance numbers, what are the performance numbers? They are absolutely staggering. Preliminary tests show that the HPSC processor provides over 100 times the total computational capacity of the current space flight computers. But even wilder, in specific operating scenarios, its peak performance bursts up to 500 times faster than the radiation hardened chip in use today. So how does this works, and how did they do it? How did they build a chip that's this fast, doesn't melt in deep space? First, the HPSC is built on an open source 64-bit RISC-V architecture, which is RISC number 5 architecture, featuring a 10-core multi-processing system. Unlike the older single-core space chips that had to handle every instructions one by one, this multi-core system can delegate tasks. But space has another massive constraint, which is power. On a distant moon or out past Saturn, solar power is nearly non-existent, and every single watt of electricity from spacecraft's nuclear battery is very precious. The HPSC handles this with unprecedented flexibility. It features a dynamic granular power management architecture. If a spacecraft is just quietly coasting through deep space for a few months, operator can algo turn off the sections of the chip that aren't being used, dropping it into a ultra low power mode. But the second the spacecraft prepared to execute a complex high stake landing on a distant planet, the chip instantly powers up all its cores to process mountains of sensor data on the fly. Furthermore, it is designed from the ground up to be a fault tolerant and radiation hardened. High energy solar particles can randomly flip bits in computer's memory, causing critical code to crash. HPSC has built-in hardware level error handling and a full defense grade security suite. It can detect a radiation induced error, correct the corrupted data in real time, and keep running without missing a beat, all the while being millions of miles away from the nearest repair technician. Now let's talk about this what this actually enables. Why does a spacecraft need a 500 times speed boost? It all comes down to autonomy and on-board artificial intelligence. With this kind of processing muscle, a spacecraft doesn't just record data to send back to Earth. It will analyze it locally. Imagine a future rover exploring Mars. Instead of waiting for a human team on Earth to map out a safe 30-foot path of the day, HPSC powered rover can use its onboard camera to build a real-time 3D map of its surrounding, run advanced object classification algorithms, spot its own hazards, and safely drive miles a day completely on its own. Think about autonomous landing sequence. Landing on a body with an atmosphere or an unpredictable surface is often called the 7 minutes of terror. The spacecraft has to fire thrusters, deploy parachutes, and scan the ground for boulders, all in real time. HPSC allows integrated AI algorithms to process high fidelity sensors data instantly, making split second adjustment to land precisely on the target. This means this opens up a whole new class of missions. We can now confidently send intelligent vehicles into places where real time human control is literally impossible, like flying automated helicopters through alien atmospheres, traversing dark subterranean caves, or deploying autonomous submarines beneath the icy Jupiter's moon Europa to look for alien life. This isn't just theoretical science or any fiction anymore. Right now, this chip is a reality. It's being put through absolute rigor. At NASA's JPL in California, engineers are conducting rigorous functional test campaigns. They started, back in February, blasting the chip with extreme thermal shocks, violent vibrations to simulate rocket launches, and intense electromagnetic radiation. To kick off the test phase, the teams programmed a tiny symbolic message into the processor. Hello universe, a clever, grander nod to the classic hello world program every software engineer writes. And so far, the chip has passed every single test with flying colors, proving that it functions flawlessly exactly as designed. But NASA and the microchip technology have an even broader vision. Because this architecture is highly flexible, it isn't going to stay confined to deep space. Microchip is planning to adapt the core technology of HPSC processor for high demand mission critical industries right here on Earth. We are talking about next generation commercial aviation autopilot systems, smart energy grid that can dynamically reroute power during natural disasters, advanced medical equipment, automated manufacturing, and localized industrial AI robotics. It's another classical example of how investing in space technology radically accelerates innovation for everyday life on Earth. Once the testing phase wraps up and the HPSC chip is officially certified as space qualified, NASA plans to weave this hardware into practically everything they launch. It will power next generation Earth orbiting satellites, upcoming planetary rovers, autonomous deep space probes, and even the crewed habitat and life support system for the Artemis astronauts heading back to the moon, eventually onwards to Mars. We are standing on a precipice of a new golden age of exploration, an era where humanity's robotic scouts aren't just remote controlled tools tethered to a sluggish radio wave, but independent, intelligent explorers capable of uncovering mysteries of the cosmos entirely on their own. So, friends, what do you think? Would you trust an AI powered spacecraft to safely land astronauts on Mars without human input? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of space tech, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all the notifications so you never miss another breakthrough that we bring to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video, my friends. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.